Hi, this is Herb Scheffer speaking. What we're talking about today, briefly, is the partial installation of a windshield on a 1960 Lincoln, which would also be the same as 1958 and 59. What people don't seem to understand on these is how fragile these glasses are, because basically you've got high stress points, and if I had a windshield in there, I'd show you. But right here, where it curves downward and it curves inward, and one has to be very careful in this whole area. When you're installing the windshield, what you need to do is make sure of, once you've got the gasket on and you're putting it in place, is to make sure it's squared in the frame so it's not over one way or the other, as that also will put undue stress onto it. Obviously, the way we do it is with rope that we set in and soap up to set the gasket in, and then pull it around so it seats the windshield into the body, onto the frame. And then we start worrying about the second thing after it's in. I normally let them sit a day or two before I put the trim on, just to let everything settle in. Now, once you've done this, and it's time to start putting the moldings and whatever, you've got one thing to remember. There is a small rubber piece that fits right up on the edge here, right above the windshield gasket. And that point is to add a little cushion and also make it a little tighter so there's less chance of it flexing and moving around. I did not have one, and what I ended up doing was taking vacuum tubing and using that as my cushion and putting that all the way across the top. Now, once you've got all this in and it's set, you're very proud of yourself and very scared and very relieved that you haven't broken the damn thing. The next thing is to put on the trim, and this gets very important now. The lower trim is not a big deal. Most of the trim is not. These two caps that are located on the left and right side of the windshield have to be installed with spacers. Otherwise, what's happening is you're putting undue stress of this piece onto the windshield gasket at this point, and that in turn is pressing down hard against the windshield. Now, if it isn't shimmed up and you're doing that, there's a high probability you will have a cracked windshield on this corner or the other corner. So what we do is we take two thin washers. We set it up.
See underneath?
Yep.
Two washers.
And we set it up here. Put a screw in to hold everything in place. And I use two, and the book says one. But what I find is that gives me a little extra security that I'm not pressing down hard against the gasket. All right? If you don't do that, there's going to be damage. And one has to be very careful and has to know that this problem exists. So, I've given you what I think you need to do a successful windshield installation of these 1958 to 60 Lincolns. Any other questions, call.